What is up, trainers and viewers? Hopefully y'all having a good morning, afternoon, evening, and night, wherever you are, wherever it may be. It's Raging Mimikyu coming to you for our first episode of JourneyToVGC.Tera, where I make my own teams and give you advice on how to use them, and I will make my way to Masters. So today's video, I decided to showcase off one of my favorite Paradox Pokemon. It's a Flutter Mane, along with Oranguru with Symbiosis, as well as Hariyama, Indeedee Female, Tauros Fire, and King Gambit. If you like the video, make sure to hit the like button down below and subscribe for more updates. Alright, so let's get into this. So today's team, we are actually going to try to make use of the Symbiosis ability that Oranguru has, as well as Flutter Mane with Boost Energy and Photosynthesis. So the idea is that we consume our Boost Energy and then we pass on our Focus Ash to Flutter Mane. That way Flutter Mane basically gets 2 items for the price of 1. One of the things that I would say can be like a small hindrance is that like I have my Boost Energy set to give me special attack, because I find that like I need as much damage output as possible with Flutter Mane. Despite having a 135 base special attack, there are a few things that can go wrong if you don't like run the special attack. Then again, there are also a few things wrong if you don't run the speed. Okay, what are we going to get here? Today we have a Garchomp, Skeledirge, Indeedee Female, King Gambit, Armarouge, and Torkoal. Okay. That's an interesting lineup. So I think what we're going to do here is we're going to go for we're going to bring in... I think we can bring in Flutter Mane here. And we can bring in Oranguru as our first lead. We do have to watch out for the Garchomp though. We don't have a direct answer to that, but we do have King Gambit, so that way we can Tera Water with it if needed to, because his team is like half fire based. Tera Water there, and then maybe bring in Hariyama to just give in a fake out, or we can bring in Tauros. The idea is, I guess, on this team is just to make sure they don't get to set up Trick Room. So we don't really need an Indeedee because they'll be setting up the terrain for us, and a lot of their Pokemon have AoE moves like Expanding Force, Eruption, Earthquake, so there's really no need there. Hariyama could be good in a situation like this, where in case we could just Wide Guard if anything. We could just Wide Guard there if possible. Tauros would be nice, but his team is mostly special. The only thing I would be taking advantage of here with the Mirror Herb is just like lowering the King Gambit's attack and then getting a +2 in the process. But I think in this situation here, I'm just gonna go with the Hariyama. Although one thing I guess I should have considered though is the fact that like because of that, if they do bring in Indeedee, I don't actually get to set up my I don't get to set up Fake Out. That's the thing. Okay, so they do bring in Oranguru. I mean, not Oranguru. We were bringing in Oranguru. They do bring in Indeedee and Armarouge. Okay, that's fine. Question is though, because we do outspeed, what do we want to do here? That's the thing. It is going to be the Psychic Seeds. We are going to raise our special attack by 50%, and then we're going to share the Focus Ash. Okay. It would make sense to go for just a turn 1 Shadow Ball, but then again, if Indeedee does go for the Follow Me, then it pretty much becomes pointless there. So what I could do here is I could just Moonblast into the Indeedee spot and just go for an Imprison. And I think we're in okay position. I could Instruct, but if Indeedee once again goes for Follow Me, then I just Instruct Indeedee to go for Follow Me again. So Imprison here is just to make sure they don't get Trick Room in case Armarouge does want to set it up this turn. So this go for Follow Me. So this was an okay turn to Imprison. It's not like Armarouge is gonna OHKO us right away. That does about a little under half. You get the Imprison off, so that's good. Armarouge cannot use Trick Room. Perfect. So then I'm thinking about what I'm gonna do this turn. I might as well I could go for another Moonblast here and then go for a Psychic just to get as much damage onto that Indeedee as possible in case it does decide to go for another Follow Me, which is very likely. And then if they want to switch into something, they probably would ideally switch into Torkoal here or King Gambit. Like, actually no, you don't bring King Gambit because of Psychic Terrain. Now you can't Sucker Punch. But I think if I could, I would like to double up into an DD spot and then just go for like a Psychic here just to get as much chip damage as possible. It does go for a Follow Me here, so it's not like I could have won for Instruct this turn anyway. So we do get the Moonblast off. It is not enough for a knockout. It does go for the Armor Cannon, so there's some speed investment to this Armor Rouge. That gets me down to my Focus Sash. That's totally fine. Its defense is gonna fall, its special defense is gonna fall, and then this should pick up the knockout. It is Life Orb too. Okay. I mean, now they can't set up Trick Room. That's very good. And then our Focus Sash activates. Now the question is, what comes out? I assume you have Torkoal in the back, so that way you can set up the Sun for your ally. Skeledirge comes out, actually. Because Armor is just faster, I can't really go for what I would like to. If I go for a Shadow Ball into that spot, right? It could switch into King Gambit. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to go for a Protect. And then I think I can just... I don't want to switch out. I might as well just stall at the Psychic Terrain at that point. I could go for a Psychic and try to get some chip damage onto the Skeledirge. Question is, do you reset your stats in this situation? Let's see. We Protect. We get the Protect off. And what did they go for here? Skeledirge Protect. Okay, so that's good. Expanding Force. Okay, that was trying to get some chip damage onto Oranguru, which it will do. And does about a third, give or take. It is once again Life Orb. We're going to take chip damage from that. So it's Expanding Force, Trick Room, Armor Cannon, and probably some... I actually don't even know what the third move could be there. So let's see. I could Shadow Ball it now. Could also Shadow Ball the Arm Rouge. Question is like, what do I have in the back to stop that? I feel like Arm Rouge does pose a big threat here, to be honest. I could just Shadow Ball and then potentially just Instruct to do it again. And I think that should be fine. Let's see what happens here. So we do get the Shadow Ball off, and because it's -1 special defense, this should pick up the knockout. There we go. So that's gonna get a knockout, and then we're gonna go for the Instruct here for faster. No, Skeledirge is actually faster despite the speed investment, but goes for it onto the Oranguru spot. Interesting. Okay, so that's gonna raise its special attack, and then it's gonna get a... That is Throat Spray. Okay, that's a +2 special attack now. And then we get the Instruct off, we get another Shadow Ball, and then we knock out the Skeledirge. Ideally. As long as... Well, it's not Assault Vest because it went for Protect. So that picks up the knockout. Good. So that's out, and then he's down to his last Pokemon, which I'm assuming is Torkoal? Let's see. No, okay, so it was the King Gambit. Then you don't really like get any extra boost from your Armor Cannon if you switch out there. He hasn't Tera typed yet. I mean, in this situation, I know for a fact we outspeed King Gambit, so I could just double Moonblast here. We Moonblast, Instruct for another Moonblast, and that should pick up a knockout. He is going to Terraform here. The question is to what Tera type. It needs to be Steel if it's going to resist 2 hits, or something that can resist Fairy. So it is going to be Tera Fairy itself. Okay, so now the question is, can it live it? Because it can't go for Sucker Punch here, because we're still in Psychic Terrain. It's just going to have to go for like an Iron Head or Kowtow Cleave. Okay. Lowered special attack. That's a little scary considering the fact that Defiant, but there we go. We're just going to knock it out here because we have Instruct. There we go, GG's. He's out of our hair. Goodbye. However, that was a speed investment King Gambit though, like that would have been scary. But no, that's the game. I definitely think though, like protecting with the Flarming there was important because I could have gotten cocky and went for the Skeledirge knockout. But it was a good idea to scout out to see what their team would do or what the Arm Rouge was planning on doing. I would have tried to switch out if I was them into King Gambit just to reset those stats, and then just targeted the Flutter Mane there. There were a few plays that could have been done a little bit differently on their end, and they probably could have had me. But overall though, very, very solid. So I guess one of the good things and one of the bad things about this team is that, like, starting off with the good thing is that you can apply so much pressure with a +1 special attack, and since Flutter Mane is a base 135 speed, it more or less outspeeds the current things that we have in this meta. And the bad thing is like, I guess one thing I've noticed when I played this team last season is that, like, if you bring out Flutter Mane or Rangaroo and then your opponent brings out, like, say a Torkoal lead or something that sets up the sun, which I think is quite literally only Torkoal in this game, you actually risk not activating your booster energy because they do it for you with the photosynthesis because you can't stack it. And then I can't pass my item to Flutter Mane, so now I'm basically just, I'm now no longer fast, or as fast as I would like to be, and I can't really assert too much, like, pressure, because chances are if I'm going up against a Roaring Moon and a Torkoal, it could just go for like an Earthquake or something and then just pick up a double knockout. Or, well, not really, but, or Rangaroo would survive, but I couldn't set up Trick Room if I wanted to. Okay, so game number 2, we have Goldango, Pelipper, Grimmsnarl, Palafin, the Great Tusk, and Raichu. Raichu definitely has Fake Out though. I think once again, there's nothing here that really outspeeds me, so I could just bring in Flutter Mane and Oranguru here. The reason why we bring in DD in this game is because we can, like, switch out Oranguru and go for, like, psychic. We have the Psychic Terrain, no Fake Out, no Jet Punch if needed. Those are some things we get to avoid. And then, funny enough, we could use King Gambit to our advantage, because if we Terra type with the Gambit, we now take advantage of the rain, and we don't have to worry about close combat from Palafin. And then we resist Make It Rain from Goldango, and we can just kowtow cleave that spot. So I'm actually okay with going with this lead. There's not really too much to threaten us here, considering the fact that most of his team is, like, revolving around the water aspect. I don't know why Great Tusk would be in a situation here, but I'm assuming that's booster energy. I don't want to bring Tauros because of Jet Punch, or not Jet Punch, but like Wave Crash, I guess. And Hariyama is just gonna negate, like, what I'm doing with Indeedee, because, like, I can't Fake Out in the Psychic Terrain, so I'm gonna go with that. That's my lead. The question is, what did he bring as his lead? He could have brought in Palafin and Raichu, or Palafin, I mean not Palafin, or Raichu and, like, the Great Tusk. Just feel like, or like even Grimmsnarl as a lead is kind of scary to think about. So it is Grimmsnarl Palafin here. So what I could do here, because I have a funny feeling more often than not, the Palafin tries to just flip turn out or something, or just switch out raw. I could just, like, Moonblast this spot here, switch out into Indeedee, and then I can redirect anything that comes my way. I'm just not going to go for, like, Instruct, because more often than not, Flutter Mane picks up the knockout onto the Grimmsnarl. And they're not switching out here either, so it could just be going for, like, a raw Jet Punch, if not a flip turn. This just prevents it going, Grimmsnarl from going for, like, Sucker Punch if it has it. So instead it's gonna go for the Light Screen. That's a little scary, but that's fine, because we just ignore that for the most part. This usually picks up the knockout too. This time it does not though. That's fine. It does go for the flip turn though. Wasn't gonna pick up the knockout though. And then the question is, what do they bring? They could bring Pelipper. They bring in Goldango. So now what I could do here is I could actually just Terra Fire if I wanted to. Helping Hand, and then kill the Goldango. The problem is though, is if Goldango is going for, like, Protect here, we kind of get screwed over. But I think it's one of those situations where we kind of need it. And we're gonna Helping Hand here. If they have Pelipper though, that's a really good switch and a good read. So what I'm actually, okay, let's do this then. Let's go for a Protect here and just go for, like, a raw Daz and see what happened. Ah, okay, so they are gonna Terra type here. Oop, hit my mic. Yeah, it is gonna be Tera's Steel, most likely. Yep. Okay. So the protect here is just to avoid a make it rain. What does Grimmsnarl go for here? Taunt. But can't do that because we are in psychic terrain. And then Goldango goes for make it rain. Okay. So now I actually kind of don't want this to pick up the knockout onto Grimmsnarl then with Dazzling Gleam. Or we could just die. That also is another thing. I should have just went for Helping Hand then, to be honest. Can't really bring in Grimmsnarl just yet. I mean, not Grimmsnarl. I can't really bring in King Gambit just yet. Might be a problem though. Maybe I should just went for the raw Helping Hand there. Could Terraform here and try and go for a raw Mystical Fire, but it might actually live the Goldango. And then what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna Trick Room because we're not picking up the knockout here. It is -1 special attack too, so we might as well just try to burn the Terra type and see what happens. We'll burn our Terra type here. I mean, we're not gonna live because it's gonna go for another Make It Rain. Goes for another Taunt though. I would just, if you have Reflect, I would just use that and try to get it off. This won't pick up the knockout though, sadly, because of the light screen. It actually almost does though, funny enough. Lowered special attack. Oh wait, hold up. Lowered its special attack more because I forgot about that. So we actually might live this because we were actually specially bulky. Never mind. We don't. But it does reduce the amount of damage that that I'll be taking here. Now it's 2 against 4, but most of his team is kind of hurt for this situation. You get the Trick Room off here, and then we could potentially get a double knockout. With that being said, so we can just go for like a Kowtow Cleave into the Goldango, and then go for an Instruct and get another Kowtow Cleave. Actually, no, let's go for Iron Head, because if we don't go for Iron Head here, I don't think Kowtow Cleave will pick up the knockout, despite being that low. He probably switches out here. No, he actually doesn't switch out here. Okay, that's fine. So then that's just gonna be a double knockout onto the from the King Gambit. Because then we Instruct. Oh, it's actually faster though. Okay, so that's gonna hurt. Not a lot though. It's gonna lower my special attack, so that means I don't really get to do as much damage with Psychic as I would like to, if I needed to. It doesn't go for Reflect, so does it just not have it? And then we also have to keep in mind that we do need this Psychic Terrain because it could have Jet Punch from the Palafin. That's another thing. And the question is, Pelipper, yeah. That's what I was afraid of too, because I definitely, if I Mystical Fire, Terra Fire onto with a Helping Hand from Indeedee, would have killed it. But I was also afraid of this situation too. This is kind of why I wish I should have saved my Terra type for this. Instead, I went kind of risky there. The Palafin is a bigger threat, but the Palafin probably protects is the thing. Like, it would make sense for Palafin to protect here. I might as well just try to knock out this Pelipper, but Pelipper has really solid defense here. I don't even think that's going to pick up a knockout, so we're just going to have to try to get as much damage, or hope that Palafin is going to get greedy here and not protect. Let's see what happens. It didn't protect, and the question is, can we get like, ooh, okay, that's good damage. Just a little bit exactly half, so depending on whether that was a high roll or a low roll, we should pick up the knockout here. Okay, cool. So now it's just Pelipper versus, it's a 2v1, so I swung that back in my favor. Let's go for the Hurricane though. That kind of sucks. And now Pelipper has to watch out. Oh, the weirdness is gone. Actually, the weirdness doesn't matter here because like, it was a flying type, so it doesn't matter too much here, but we do outspeed it. Now their their Pelipper needs to land Hydro Pumps, and I need to land high rolls here. We can Kowtow Cleave 2 turns and then Sucker Punch. But we have to live 2 hits too. Pelipper's gonna protect here to stall out 1 turn of Trick Room, which is gonna be kind of a nightmare. But then again, they also stall out their Rain too. We are Assault Vest as well. So I'm guessing, depending on the spread on that Pelipper, we should take about half. Because this Rain is kind of annoying. So if we need to get like, let's see how much that does here. That actually does good damage. Okay. Then it goes for the Hydro Pump. A little under half. Twisted Dimensions do go back to normal. And I just Kowtow Cleave that spot. I mean, it's once again not over. It's a thing, because I don't think Sucker Punch picks up the knockout from that range. I could double Sucker Punch, but we don't know that he has Protect, so he could just keep reading into that, if anything. So we'll just go for the Kowtow Cleave here and see what happens. Let's go for the Hydro Pump. It does miss. And then we should pick up the knockout here. There we go. That was kind of risky. I unfortunately played pretty badly there because, like, I really should have. If I really wanted to go for my Tera Fire onto the Goldango, I should have Helping Hand with the Indeedee to knock it out for the guarantee. But I didn't, unfortunately. It lived on a fraction though, so that's actually good intel for the future with Light Screen. More often than not though, if it's just Mystical Fire, Tera Fire with the Flutter Mane, it actually does pick up the knockout onto Goldango like about 90% of the time, depending on their EV spreads, from my experience. It's gonna put us in Ultra Ball tier. Do one more battle. So I like this team a lot, but I can definitely say that there are flaws to it for sure. Honestly, another thing I was considering is just changing my Tera Water King Gambit into a Tera Fire, because I feel like that would actually be good to avoid getting burned. Because once King Gambit gets burned, and like just about every other physical attacker that doesn't have guts like Hariyama, it just becomes kind of crippled. It doesn't really do much, unfortunately. Whoa, okay, we have like a real tank team here, and they're all kind of slow, but of course we do have to watch out for this Klefki, gonna set up light screens and stuff like that, so I could fake out the Klefki here. So this could be a good game to just bring in Flutter Mane, Hariyama, but then of course, there are things to watch out for as well. Tera Water is also good here. Excuse me, against Mudsdale and Gargantuar. So I'm trying to think about how exactly I want to go about doing this. Yeah, it's likely that you have Taunt too on that thing, so. We can do something like that as our lead. Tera Fire, we'll live a hit. Bring King Gambit. Then no, because then I can't really handle too much of the Mudsdale, can I? I don't have a direct Mudsdale counter either. But I could always instruct and Trick Room if I needed to. That's the thing, I do have to watch out solely for the for this Klefki and how it plays out the rest of its games. Not to mention Roaring Moon's also on the field here. Thank God. We do have a Rengar with Focus Sash, so because they may not know that, we could just go for like Trick Room. And then get away with King Gambit Terra typing. It's really, like, where I'm gonna Terra type really does depend about whether or not they brought Klefki. What that is, it is Klefki and it is Mudsdale. So we bring Hariyama and we bring in Flutter Mane. I'm definitely not gonna have a direct answer to Mudsdale though either. So, I'm not gonna burn my Tera Fire though, if anything. I might as well just like try to fake out the Klefki and hope that I can knock it out from that range. I just don't want it to set up a light screen. I'm sure Mudsdale is just gonna go for like the one-hit knockout onto that spot. Klefki flinched. It's just gonna go for like high horsepower or something. It's not enough for the knockout though. It's gonna lower its special attack, but that doesn't really matter too much. Heavy slam is just gonna kill me. Okay. Okay. And then we could bring in Oranguru. And then they'll have to respect if we go for Trick Room or not here. The Mudsdale is definitely something to watch out for. I could Trick Room here. What does he have in the back? A lot of things he has in the back are actually kind of fast. Let's Trick Room and then knock off here. Because that's going to knock off the Light Clay. Even if it does go for Imprison, which it doesn't. Okay. So we do get the Trick Room off. Oh, we are faster though. And we didn't pick up the knockout. It's off the Light Clay. Earthquake though. It's going to knock itself up. So now Mudsdale's faster at this point. And that's really unfortunate. Like, we lose our tank, but they don't. All they lose is a support. There comes the Amoonguss. Could just Psychic here and actually just go for like a Wide Guard. But I have a funny feeling Amoonguss just spores for the most part here. We'll try doing that. See what happens. Just so we don't have to take a Earthquake here. If they did go for that, they might as well just go for Heavy Slam too. They do go for the Spore. That was something to consider. Did they go for the Earthquake too? No, they went for high horsepower. Yeah. They predicted that. They actually knew I was gonna go for that. Yeah, I think we just lose this, unfortunately, because now I need to Terra type with King Gambit so I don't take a a hit like that. And more often than not, I think Amoonguss is just slower, so how would I have played differently if I brought Oranguru and Fluttermane? Still, Klefki would have gotten its light screen up, though, in the end. But we would have lived the hit from Mudsdale. But that's probably Assault Vest Mudsdale, if I'd take a guess. So let's just Instruct. Try and Terra Water and see how much that does. Because now he's got 2 supports and probably 2 attackers in the back. I don't know what Mudsdale's base speed is though, which is something I should have accounted for. Because Mudsdale's one of those Pokemon you just hardly ever see when playing ranked. Let's go for the Pollen Puff. It's not a lot. It's like no special attack at all. Let's go for the high horsepower. High horsepower does miss though. Let's see if we can get a crit and knock out. That'd be great, but Mudsdale's way too thick. Plus, it probably has stamina. Ridiculous stamina. Oranguru is just fast asleep. Would have been a great turn for Oranguru to wake up. Yeah, there's no way it doesn't just go for that. So, put the Spore there. So we can attempt to Trick Room back and turn it in our favor. Here I'm just gonna go for like another Terra Blast Water and hope. It goes for the Pollen Puff. At some point, if there is a crit here, that would... Oh, never mind. I always brought this a lot. I kind of need that crit, to be honest. No, not happening. I just keep raising its stamina over and over again. Oranguru's fast asleep, so it don't matter. Like we're just in a weird position because it. Like I'm surprised they haven't spored us yet, to be honest. Instruct. We don't even get to know what their last Pokemon is, unfortunately. And then I'm just gonna Kowtow Cleave here. Just why not? Just might try to get with the Amoonguss. Yeah. At that point, it's kind of a lost cause. We do Kowtow Cleave. That does nothing. Which makes me think that that's just max HP, max attack. Like, damn. Holy hell. Black sludge healing. Twisted dimensions are back to normal. This thing is a raid boss at this point. At best, I'm just gonna... At least I'll know what his next Pokemon is, though, if he doesn't protect with the Amoonguss. Ah, never mind. So Protect, Spore, Pollen Puff, and Rage Powder, probably. Is what I'm guessing is he's running on his Amoonguss. Yeah, shouldn't have went for that. I genuinely thought that my my Hariyama would be slower. Earthquake. Just gonna pick up the double knockout here. Oh, Oranguru actually lives. That's crazy though. That's really unfortunate. Go for another Psychic. Just because, I mean, like, we should just forfeit. They withdraw, just show me the last Pokemon, which is probably Roaring Moon for like more damage. Actually, it's Flutter Mane. Damn. Okay. Slam. So Heavy Slam, High Horsepower, Earthquake. Superpower for coverage against ice, maybe? I don't think Mudsdale learned close combat. That was one of the downsides to it in I think in Generation 7, but I could check. Actually, let me check it out right now. That was probably Assault Vest if I had to take a guess. Let's see. Oh, whoops, wrong one. No, I think it actually does get close combat. Superpower, low sweep, body press would have been another option too if you're running like max HP, max defense. Yeah, it does get close combat. Okay, got it. That's probably what I was running anyway. All right, unfortunate though, we did lose that one, but we did win the other two, so we did our best. If you do want to play with this team though, I'll leave a code in the description of the video. So hope you all have a good morning, afternoon, evening, night. Thank you for joining me for JourneyToVGC.Tera, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Later.